Guys, how's it going? It's Al. Week 18 is upon us on DraftKings NFL DFS. We're going to take a look at 5 of the top stacks that we should be considering for this weekend. However, it is week 18, and week 18 is different from every other week in the NFL. It is absolutely a moving target. Week 18 of NFL is a lot more like an everyday NBA lock, if you play NBA daily fantasy, than an NFL lock time. Not because it goes right up to the last second, but because there's so many different moving parts. We kind of don't know who's going to get the volume. We're seeing changes in the news and who's going to play on a day in, day out basis so far this week. The players that I thought were going to be interesting on Monday or Tuesday, I'm recording this video on Thursday. It's not really the same players. It's still changing as we're getting news from which teams are going to start and sit guys, which teams are benching all their quarterbacks. The Chicago has already benched their quarterback. The Giants probably aren't going to play anybody. We'll take a look at the motivation article on establishtherun.com. Go to smizzle.tv/ETR if you wanted to check out all the fine products that they have at ETR. If you're a new member to the site, you get a 10% discount to any of the products on your first subscription to the site. So let's go over there and check that out, as well as take a look at the 5 top stacks and what we're going to do with them on Fantasy Labs. So glad you're here. Drop a like on the video, subscribe to the channel, ring the notifications bell. Let me know how you're handling this week with all of the start sits, the motivations, the players that have contract incentives, and everything else. And let's go.
He's a legend.
Last time to get in on the Smiz Gang Listener League for the 2022-2023 NFL season. It is posted in the lobby on DraftKings. Sorry, it is not posted in the lobby on DraftKings. It's only available on smizzle.tv/links. It is a $10 contest, 3 max, $30,000. Absolutely no rake, no service fee. These size tournaments, these dollar entry tournaments, are typically 12 to 15% of the prize pool goes directly to the house. DraftKings, because our Smiz Gang has done such a great job as a community of patronizing DraftKings, gives us access to this rake-free tournament. All we got to do is fill it, and then they'll bring it back next year. And at the beginning of the season, when there's more people playing daily fantasy, we get up to like $50, $60, $70,000 in the prize pool. So let's do that. I will shout out the top 10 finishers on the week 18 recap video on the Al Smizzle Fantasy Football channel at smizzle.tv/links. You can find links to the Listener League, our Discord, the Fantasy Football channel, everything else. So make sure that you go there. I said that I was going to mention this article. Here it is. Friend of the show, Adam Levitan, my old podcast co-host, who's one of the founders of establishtherun.com, does a playoff motivation article every year. I am not sure if this is a paywalled article or not. I'm going to show it anyway because it's easier to ask for forgiveness than permission. So we're just going to go over the first part of it. Understanding which teams are motivated and likely to play their starters is a prerequisite for winning in week 18. Fastest motivation, I've ranked them from 1 to 10, 10 being the least motivation, 1 being the least motivation, and 10 being the most. The Chiefs, they are highly motivated. They're going to play the dudes, although they play on Saturday. The Bills, 9. These are the teams that have something to play for. The Bengals, the Jaguars. The Chargers are up in the air, and the Chargers are up in the air. This is something that I did not think about because of the Bengals situation a couple of days earlier. The Chargers, if they win that game, they get, you know, the seed that is more preferable to avoid the Bills, to avoid the Bengals, but that will also happen with an earlier game. If the Ravens lose their game, the Chargers just get that spot and are basically going to sit everybody. So you're up in the air. That has one of the later kickoffs. It's the afternoon games. You'll know before the game. If the Ravens win, the Chargers are going all out. If the Ravens lose, the Chargers are not going all out. The Patriots are going to play their guys. Dolphins, Steelers, Titans, Eagles, 49ers, all playing their guys as long as the Philadelphia game is close or Philly is losing. They're all going to get after it in the first half. If Philly is up 30-0 at halftime, 49ers are sitting their guys. Vikings, little to play for other than a record, but I'm saying that right now they are going to be playing Kirk Cousins. Buccaneers sitting everybody. Cowboys playing their guys. They kick off all at the same time. Philly, San Francisco, and Cowboys all shooting for that number 1 seed and the bye week. Giants, they're already going to sit all their guys. They're sitting everybody. Everybody else is playing. Seahawks, they're playing for their own contention. Lions, they have nothing to play for, but their coaches said, we're playing all our guys. I don't care. We're going to pull the Packers down with us, even if we aren't in playoff contention. If we can't make it, they can't make it either. Obviously, the Packers are win and in. Go over to smizzle.tv/ETR, all lowercase letters. Go check out all the great stuff that they have at establishtherun.com. Some of the best projections in daily fantasy, tons of content, whether it's paywalled podcasts, whether it's paywalled content, some of the best projections in the industry. They also have great props and betting that they work on. So go check out establishtherun.com. Friends of the program, they're on the show every single year. We're going to start with Tyler Huntley. because he's there. Now, look, they got to win. Cincinnati is mostly kind of locked into a spot here. Like they're somewhat motivated, but not super motivated. They're going to know everything that comes to play after Kansas City plays on Saturday. So this is a situation where the Ravens are going to have to try to score touchdowns. Not that they don't try to score touchdowns every week, but like Cincinnati may not have to. I don't think that you need to double stack Tyler Huntley. He brings some rushing upside to the table, even though he doesn't run anywhere nearly as well or as much as Lamar Jackson. But the majority of his pass attempts do go through Mark Andrews at 5,400. Building a skinny stack with him is very viable. I'm not as interested in a double stack through Robinson or Watkins or whoever the hell else they're rolling out at wide receiver this week. Probably just going to be a skinny stack to get to one or two of the guys on Cincinnati if you think this game shoots out, whether it's going to be Chase or Higgins or Boyd. Or Joe Mixon on the other side, because that is the way that I want to go, because it's extremely expensive to try and get access to Bengals players through Joe Burrow with his price and the combined price of the wide receivers if you play two of them in a lineup. Next stack, Jalen Hurts. They have everything to play for here. The Eagles they're not in a must-win situation, but they're in a must-win situation. If they lose, they don't get the number one seed. The Giants are basically sitting a lot of their players. As they sit guys, they're already a defense that we can exploit a little bit with the Eagles. They're not an easy defense to attack. They're a solid defense. We saw them put up 30 points against them last time with 2 touchdown passes, ran for 77, and a score. If I'm playing Jalen Hurts, because I think that he is going to have that 25-point day, I am going to want to double stack at least some of the time. It's going to depend on whether you want to go through AJ Brown, who has seen the most ceiling type games in conjunction, even one where he did not score a touchdown against Chicago. 9 catches on 16 targets for 181. Against the Giants last time, caught 4 of 6 for 1 touchdown for 17 points. If you wanted to plug him, I'm totally okay with it. Devontae Smith has maintained his target use. Like, this is something I did not expect to see. He got a big bump in usage, right? That correlated around the time that Dallas Goedert was out. He was getting very sporadic usage, fluctuating 2, 8, 5, 11, 4, 12. He was up and down every single week. And then Goedert went out and he started getting great usage consistently, right? And then Goedert came back and he's still getting great usage. 12 targets, 13 targets, an extremely talented wide receiver that was somebody that I really felt was going to break out this season with the addition of AJ Brown. A lot like Jalen Waddle has had a really good season opposite of Tyreek Hill. Even though the other one's the alpha, doesn't mean that Devontae Smith can't score like one. And looking at his past 5 games, he has topped 20 DraftKings points, 4 of the 5, with the low mark being 17.4. So using him as a single stack or part of a double is fine. And the return of Dallas Goedert, he's been fine, but he hasn't been getting the amount of targets that he got. So it almost feels like a paradigm shift, a merit-based promotion, if you will, in terms of target market share for Devontae Smith with Dallas Goedert even back. I think that Goedert makes for a great tournament play because the volume has been down for 3 weeks. As his volume goes down, his price has not gone down. It usually does, but the percentage of people on him is going to be lower than it will be on AJ Brown and Smith in correlated stacks with Jalen Hurts. I think that Goedert definitely has touchdown upside in this one, as they are going to be pushing to score as many early touchdowns as they can. Okay, so this is going to be a pretty big thing, at least in my opinion, through Jalen Hurts in that spot. 25 to 30 points could very definitely be incoming from the Philadelphia Eagles against the Giants team that is preparing for the playoffs. Kirk Cousins, I'm operating as though he's going to play in this one. They have some very simple motivation to go for, and it's player motivation. So it's not about Kirk Cousins. He did not have a good game last week, but the previous 3 weeks, 24, 37, 28 points. He sits at 6,500. We know that he is talented, especially on a week where teams are playing their backups. Like Kyle Trask is going to play. Washington's playing their backup. We have it's like test out the toys week. All across the NFL, just all these backups playing. But this is the reason that we wanted to go with him, because if Justin Jefferson does have a big day, and they have said that they are trying to get him that 2,000 yards, for him to get there, you can do the quick math and figure out that he needs 229 yards receiving. The last time that they played this Chicago Bears team, way back in week 5, he caught 12 balls for 154 on 13 targets, 30 plus 33 DraftKings points, no touchdowns caught. I'm not saying that he's going to get a repeat of that, but like, let's say they're trying to funnel passes to him to try and get him that record, because that's something that they have to play for, to motivate, to move forward through this offseason, get the guy an NFL record for all time. Even if they fall short, right? Even if you fall short, Justin Jefferson's going to be extremely popular in cash games. But if they fall short and he gets like 190 yards receiving on 10 or 12 catches, because they're essentially handing the ball off to him on 1 yard throws on bubble screens, just getting catch after catch after catch on throw on throw on throw, that's like 200 yards receiving. That means that's 200 yards passing. If he wanders into the end zone on 1 or 2 of those, that's 2 touchdown passes. So those do add up. Now, if you are projecting that is the case, guys like Thielen are going to take a back seat. Guys like KJ Osborne, with the great amount of targets that he's gotten, 27 over the last 3 games, that takes a back seat. And TJ Hawkinson, who's been tremendous since coming over from the Lions to the Vikings, that also takes a back seat. In that narrative-driven, anecdotal situation where every target, 80% of the target market share, goes to Justin Jefferson, I don't know that you need to double stack them. This is not a team that's going to play anybody. They're shutting everybody down. Chicago has negative motivation. If Chicago wins this game, which they won't, they're sitting Justin Fields. They're going to sit a bunch of their other players. If they win this game, they don't get the number 1 pick. If they lose this game and Houston beats Indianapolis, which is not out of the realm of possibility, like Indy's favored by 2 in that game, and like, it's not like they have a good offensive line. A touchdown or 2 on defense would not shock me from Houston against Indy, or both defenses can be had. It's very possible that Houston wins that game. If Houston ends up winning that game, returns a kick for a touchdown, something ridiculous, and just they can't sit their guys or lose the game and end up with the 1 pick, the Bears get the number 1 pick in the next NFL draft. So kind of look out for that. But look, single stacks with Justin Jefferson and Cousins very much in play this week. So we're going to kind of break the rules a little bit. Desmond Ridder at 4,900 is not the Puke stack. Imagine that. So like, he's pukey, but he's not really the Puke stack. It's an ugly, ugly week. Okay. But projects at a value. You can skinny stack him quite easily with Drake London at 4,900 still. Just a mountain of targets. Just an absolute 40 targets over the last 4 games. We can kind of get to here. Tampa Bay sitting everybody. I could definitely see Drake London scoring against backups this week. This projects as a very good value with a simple correlation and finding somebody on Tampa Bay that you expect to play, because right now the news is that they're going to sit all of their starters. They have absolutely no motivation. So now you have guys like Russ Gage stepping in, like Miller stepping in, finding value so that you can like plug stuff in. I know that chat is not going to be happy. I know that they're going to riot. I know that they're not pleased, but let's say that we have a path to like Gage or Miller, right? They plug one of these guys in as Evans, Godwin, Jones are clearly their primary pass catchers, with Cade Otton as well. May not play this game. Cam Brate may play in his stead, who was a healthy scratch last week. With this single stack and bring back, guess what we can afford, guys? We can afford kind of a lot of things. Sometimes it's not about the stack. Sometimes it's just about the stack doing just enough and allowing you access to something like that, which is filthy in tournaments. So getting Justin Jefferson and McCaffrey to really high floor, very high ceiling guys. And if Ridder has himself an 18-19 point day, London scores a touchdown, gets you 20, and Gage gets like 8-9 catches and gets you 20 fantasy points as well, all of a sudden you're set up for success in tournaments with a correlated lineup to go through what is not the Puke stack. But what is the Puke stack is Andy Dalton. That's a fantastic beard and haircut, by the way. Absolutely love the headshot here. Andy Dalton looks like he's a 1920s criminal in old-timey New York. Now, look, he has not hit a ceiling, but projects at a good value against Carolina, who got had last week by a Tampa Bay offense that had struggled as well. I know that there is chances that he gets vultured around the goal line by Taysom Hill. They do have a couple of pass catchers who also project his values. That really makes this a solid value stack, again, to get you access to one-offs that are very expensive on the slate. So if we were to go with Dalton, Rashid Shaheed does project as a very good value at 4,200 with the upside that he has, the downfield ability, a 35, 40, 68, and 58 yard catch against Carolina, who can be exploited on the outside, and Chris Olave, who through the first half of the season was the league leader in terms of air yards, deep targets, has not done anything the past few weeks, but that's when you want to buy to get yourself a differentiated contrarian stack. It's ugly this week. Every game is totaled between like 37 This is the ugliest week I can remember in terms of quarterback scoring, potential quarterback scoring, in terms of stack scoring, in terms of totals. Let's go over to Fantasy Labs and take a look at a couple of rules that we have set. Typically, I pair my quarterback with exactly 2 of their wide receivers and tight ends. I am totally fine if you want to change this, and I will probably be changing this rule this week, to pair quarterback with at least 1 of their wide receivers and tight ends and use a bring back play when it's there. I'll pair my, I don't have this rule in play here because I'm probably not going to play Chargers this week. So this rule is only when I'm going to be using Herbert. Pair your wide receiver. This is how you get your bring back stacks. Pick the teams that you want bring back stacks from in that. We'll build 150 lineups. Let's apply these settings, generate those lineups. Go to Fantasy Labs, smizzle.tv/labs with an uppercase L. You get the discounted membership. The 8-month is the best one. It'll take you right up to the beginning of next football season. It includes NBA, college basketball, MLB, golf, NHL, MMA, and a ton more. Premium content, great projections. You can import or upload your own projections or from a different site if you use a different site's projections into their lineup builder for every single one of those sports. So I wish you the best of luck. Just realize you're not going to click that generate button vanilla style and go win yourself $1 million. It takes a lot of work correlating these lineups. It takes a lot of work cultivating these lineups and manicuring them. So take your time, learn how to use a lineup builder, especially if you don't know if you're a great mass multi-entry player. Using it in a tournament like the dime or the quarter jukebox, anything like that helps you find out for a very low cost with big upside in NFL. Thank you guys for watching. Look out for another video right there.
He's a legend.